Well, Australian households are facing another increase in gas prices from today. Victoria is the state that's going to see the biggest increase. New South Wales not far behind. New charges will see energy bills skyrocket by hundreds of dollars as retailers pass on these double-digit increases. The gas industry criticised the government for failing to have a plan to fix these supply shortages. Let's go live now to the New South Wales Energy Minister, Matt Kean. Matt, thanks so much for your time. We see the federal government trying to implement these price caps. The sector, the retail sector, not at all happy with it. The gas companies are saying, well, we don't really understand what the ACCC is doing. With a little bit of breathing room now, did the federal government do the right thing? Is there a bit of mischief making from the gas companies here?
Well, I mean, this is a national problem and it required a national solution. So obviously we all want to see lower gas prices and lower energy prices across New South Wales and indeed across the country. So we want to do everything possible to make that happen. This is not about big gas companies or big coal companies making super profits on the back of the war in Ukraine. This is about protecting Australian energy users, whether it be businesses or households. That's why we've worked closely with the Commonwealth government, and in New South Wales we've implemented their coal cap to ensure that we put downward pressure on electricity bills.
Okay, so what's happened with the coal cap? You've implemented them? I thought you dropped them.
We've currently issued draft directions orders here in New South Wales. We're consulting with the industry. We're going to issue the directives in the next couple of weeks that will ensure that we can put that downward pressure on energy bills that the Commonwealth government has asked us to work with them on. Okay,
so BHP sent a memo to staff. We saw that earlier this week, concerned about the coal cap that you'd talked about. Then it looked like from reporting yesterday that had been dropped altogether. So are you saying now that you are pushing ahead with that? Has the timeline been delayed? What is it?
Well, I understand that BHP wants to sell coal overseas to make sure they cash in on Putin's power profits. But my focus is on protecting New South Wales businesses, New South Wales families. Let me make this very clear, Laura. We're working with the Commonwealth to implement their coal cap here in New South Wales. We're working through the directions orders with industry to make sure that they are workable. And look, we're not looking to interfere with existing contracts. We're just asking the coal companies in New South Wales to keep a small portion of their coal here for New South Wales businesses and consumers. I understand that BHP wants to sell all of their coal overseas so that they can cash in on Putin's power prices, but we need to protect New South Wales businesses and consumers, and we'll work with the Commonwealth to implement their coal cap.
Yeah, right, but are you working with the companies? Because it looks like this timeline has been pushed back to what you originally announced.
Well, of course we're working with the companies. We're negotiating with them to make sure that these are
So when are the caps in place?
Can be
when do the caps in place for coal?
Well, we'll be issuing the directions in the next couple of weeks, Laura, but let me be very clear. Nothing will change our focus from working with the Commonwealth to put downward pressure on electricity bills here in New South Wales and indeed right across the country. That's the right thing to do. We've seen huge spikes in wholesale gas prices.
Of the Mount Arthur coal mine closing early?
Well, of course not. What we saw is BHP make a bumper profit last year of $47 billion. They'll still be able to export the majority of their coal overseas to cash in on Putin's power prices. That's not going to change. That's not going to interfere with existing contracts, including with our overseas partners like Japan. What we're just saying is that they can look to keep a tiny portion of their coal for New South Wales businesses and New South Wales consumers to put downward pressure on energy bills. That's not a big ask. It's a drop in the ocean compared to the super profits that they're currently making.
OK, you've got an election. The federal government doesn't this year. So what are you promising the constituents of New South Wales? How much will their power prices come down?
Well, what we're promising is that we're working with the Commonwealth to put downward pressure on electricity prices. We've done our bit here with the coal cap, and also we've put $330 million worth of energy bill relief on the table to support families and businesses at this difficult time. We know this is not just a New South Wales problem. This is not just a national problem. It's an international problem being driven by the illegal war in Ukraine. We've seen huge spikes in the price of coal, huge spikes in the price of gas, and that's feeding through to domestic energy prices. Obviously, we're working with the Commonwealth Government to implement their coal cap here in New South Wales. They've put a cap on the price of gas, and that's seeing already the forward curve coming down when it comes to energy prices. What we're doing is everything within our power in the short term to dampen electricity prices here in New South Wales, but in the long term we've got a clear plan to modernise our electricity system that will put downward pressure on electricity bills by building the modern infrastructure that we're going to need to protect our economy.
Some of these energy companies say what you're actually doing though is creating uncertainty, and that is going to affect long-term supply and investment. What do you say to that?
Well, we've seen this campaign being run by big coal companies before. We saw it in Queensland when Queensland talked about increasing coal royalties. We're not doing that here in New South Wales. All we're asking is the big coal companies that are making super profits because of Putin's illegal war to keep a little bit of their coal here to support domestic users, families and businesses in New South Wales. It's a drop in the ocean compared to the super profits that they're making.
They don't think so. You keep on saying Putin's powers. So do you think these companies are being greedy? Is that what you're saying here?
What I think is I understand that these companies want to cash in on the super profits that Putin's illegal war are seeing. What we want to see is New South Wales businesses and consumers protected. We're working with the Commonwealth to implement their coal cap here in New South Wales. We're implementing the Commonwealth solution to what is a national problem. We all want to do our bit to protect New South Wales and indeed Australian energy users, and we're doing our part.
All right. A lot more where this came from. We'll speak soon to see how those coal caps go. I want to finally ask you about the former Clubs boss, Josh Landis. What do you say to him this morning?
Well, you know, the decision of Clubs New South Wales to get a new CEO is a matter for them. What I will say is that the industry who wants us to worship at the altar of gambling should be the last people commenting on people's religious beliefs.
Do you think it was unsavoury, wrong? Do you think it was right for him to be sacked?
Look, there can be plenty of debate about the policy merits of cashless gaming, and that debate's happening here in New South Wales, but there's no room in that debate for bigotry and discrimination based on people's religious views. OK, Matt Kean, thanks so much. We'll speak soon. Thanks, Laura.